There are various types and sizes of tattoo needles available on the market, making it challenging to keep track. But don't worry, today I'll guide you through the different needle types and explain their uses. I'll also show you which needle I use, and you'll see it's not as complicated as it may seem. Choosing the right needle gauge. The gauge of the needle plays a crucial role in the type of work you want to perform. This is the first number on the needle packaging and indicates how thick the needle is at its thickest point. The most common numbers are 8 means the needle is 0.25 millimeters thick at its thickest point, ideal for detailed work, but very delicate. 10 means the needle is 0.3 millimeters thick at its thickest point. I believe you've understood the principle. The next number on the package determines the number of needles. The number of needles influences the thickness of the line. More needles mean a thicker line. With shader needles, more needles also mean thicker shading, which is logical. The letters after the numbers describe the needle type. In the world of tattoos, there are various needle types used for different purposes, from round liners to Magnum shaders. Each needle has its own function and application. RL stands for round liner needles. Perfect for clear and clean line work. RS stands for round shader needles, ideal for filling colors and basic shading and thick lines. Round shaders are very similar to liner needles, but there is one major difference. The round shader needles are straight and are further apart. The circular arrangement of the needles creates a cavity. The M1 abbreviation stands for Magnum needles. Here's a mistake you should avoid when working with a Magnum needle that isn't rounded on the sides like a soft edge needle. It can strain the skin too much when filling large areas. I don't know anyone who uses this needle because it's simply too aggressive on the skin. Additionally, there are no smooth transitions at overlapping points. RM or CM stands for curved Magnum shader needles. Offer better ink distribution and smoother shading. I use this needle very often, and it's perfect for soft, clean shading. There are more needle types, but I don't want to confuse or overwhelm you, so I'll leave out those types because in practice, they're not commonly used, or let's say I don't use them. Now, let's talk about the last designation on the needle package, the letters at the very end. In technical terms, the needle tips are called tapers. These abbreviations simply denote the length and characteristics of the needle tip. MT stands for medium taper, representing a medium length tip suitable for thicker outlines and filling color areas. LT stands for long taper, which is a very long tip, an all-rounder, ideal for outlines and shading. XDL is an extreme long taper, even longer than LT, mainly intended for outlines. BP means bug pin, the finest taper type for extremely fine lines. With long taper needles, for example, you can tattoo on a spot for longer without damaging the skin too much, as the angle is very sharp. This is good for line work. On the other hand, a shorter tip transports more ink into the skin, but irritates the skin more. This is good for color packing with Magnums. Of course, all of this also depends on the machine settings and speed. Usually, manufacturers already use the optimal taper for the corresponding tattoo needle, so don't worry about that. For example, I always assume that the manufacturer uses the right taper for the right needle. However, it's important to know what taper stands for and to have heard about it. As I promised at the beginning of the video, here's a list of all the needles I use. In the video description, you'll find all the needles I use. If you buy the needles with my discount code, you'll save 5% on your order. If you're interested in seeing how the lines from the different needles on my list look, check out this video here.